My father and his wife had a baby expecting me to help raise him. But when I refused to bring my half-brother along on our family trip, they had the nerve to offer me a babysitting trade deal instead of apologizing. The words hit me like a physical blow, a sudden, icy shock. My own father, the man who should have protected me, was asking me to babysit his child on my family vacation to Europe, a trip planned specifically to celebrate my daughter's milestone birthday. The late afternoon sun, usually a comforting golden hue, felt sickly yellow through the living room window, casting long, distorted shadows across the room. A strange, brittle silence hung in the air after his audacious suggestion, broken only by the distant, playful shouts of children from the park outside, a stark contrast to the heavy, uncomfortable tension pressing down on my chest. My relationship with my father, Robert, and his wife, Brenda, has always been a tangled, knotted mess. It started years ago, when Brenda, driven by a fierce desire for a baby, convinced my dad to have another child, their son Leo. Robert, feeling a strange emptiness as my sister, Emily, and I moved out, agreed. But from day one, it felt less like they were adding to their family and more like they were hiring an unpaid care team. They expected Emily and me to actively help raise Leo, to be their village. We refused. Our lives were our own. We had careers, burgeoning independence. This wasn't some joint venture we'd signed up for. Our refusal sparked a series of bitter arguments that slowly, irrevocably, poisoned my bond with Robert. Brenda, especially, grew furious. She saw my boundaries as personal slights, as a betrayal. It only escalated when I got pregnant with my first child, Ethan. Leo was still a baby, and Brenda's anger flared hotter than ever. "You can care for children," her eyes screamed. "Just not mine." Things at their house are, to put it mildly, chaotic. Leo, now older, is a handful, undisciplined, restless. Robert, never the most hands-on dad to Emily and me, hasn't changed much, though he is slightly more present than he once was. And Brenda? The older Leo gets, the more she seems to lose interest in the day-to-day grind of parenting. The cycle never ends. They still call me first for babysitting, even though I almost always have to say no. Their tactics, however, have evolved. Now their primary targets are my children, Ethan, who's 8, and my sweet little Lily, 4. My kids, bless their hearts, do not get along with Leo. Not for lack of trying on Robert and Brenda's part, mind you. They've tried orchestrating playdates that were really just Brenda dumping Leo on me while she went shopping. They forced the kids to share a room on miserable family vacations. Robert even tried to enroll Leo in Ethan's school a few years back. Any flicker of opportunity to make our children coexist, they fan into a roaring flame. Which brings us to now. My husband, Michael, and I have been planning a monumental trip to France for months. It's for Lily's 5th birthday, Disneyland Paris, the whole dream. We don't travel often, and the kids are absolutely ecstatic. When Robert found out, his voice, thick with an almost casual entitlement, dropped the bombshell. He wanted us to bring Leo with us. He'd pay for all of Leo's expenses, flights, hotels, everything, so his son could experience Europe with my family. My blood ran cold. "No," I said, my voice tight, trying to keep it even.
"No, Dad.
We want this trip to be just us. Our kids." He wouldn't let it go. "Leo would just love going to Disney with you, Sarah," he pressed, his tone shifting from casual to cajoling. "Brenda and I really need some child-free time. You know, you could take care of your little brother like a good sister." The word audacity doesn't even begin to cover it. The argument escalated quickly. My patience, a thin, frayed thread, snapped. A fire ignited in my chest, years of resentment and frustration boiling over. "Dad," I bit out, my voice sharp, unforgiving. "You need to understand something. Leo is not my responsibility. He never will be. And if you and Brenda wanted child-free time so badly, maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to have a child." The silence that followed was deafening. Robert's face, usually so placid, contorted with rage. His eyes narrowed, burning into mine. "You're saying you wish Leo was never born," he accused, his voice booming. "I hadn't said that," not even close, but he wouldn't hear it. He called me an ungrateful brat, a heartless sister. Later, Brenda's insults came through the phone like venom. I knew I wasn't wrong to refuse, not deep down. But hearing those words from my father, the fury in his voice, the outright nastiness, I wasn't proud of my own outburst. Michael, ever the voice of reason, agreed I was justified in setting boundaries, but gently suggested I might have been a little too harsh.
It haunted me.
A week later, still reeling, Emily flew in for her birthday weekend. We kept up our tradition, lunch with Mom, then dinner at Robert's house. The air was thick with unspoken tension, heavy and suffocating. Brenda barely acknowledged Michael or me, her face a mask of icy disapproval. Leo, surprisingly, was better behaved than usual, a small mercy. After Emily left, Robert and Brenda cornered us. They wanted to speak in private. Michael, ever protective, offered to stay, but I insisted on going alone, needing to face this head-on. As I walked into the dining room, I braced myself for another lecture. What they offered instead was unbelievable. Brenda, with a theatrical sigh, proposed a compromise. She would, she declared, babysit Ethan and Lily every other Saturday, a tremendous hassle and extremely inconvenient for her. She emphasized, if I would reconsider taking Leo to France. A babysitting trade deal, as if my children were bargaining chips and my vacation was theirs to negotiate. The sheer gall of it left me speechless. Then, the alternative. If I still refused Leo's trip, Michael and I would babysit him every other Saturday until September, so they could have their precious free time. My mind reeled. They honestly expected me to choose? I looked at them, truly looked at them, and for the first time in a long time I didn't feel the need to explain. I didn't feel anger, just a profound, bone-deep weariness. No, I said, the word a quiet, firm stone dropping into a deep well. Robert, ever the one to avoid direct confrontation, tried to end the conversation, to smooth things over. But Brenda wasn't done. She launched into a full-blown rant about her exhaustion, about how horrible it felt not to be able to rely on family. Her words dripped with self-pity, completely oblivious to the pain and frustration she was inflicting. When she finally paused, I met her gaze, my voice steady, though my heart pounded against my ribs. Don't contact me again, I told them, until you are ready to genuinely apologize. Then I turned and walked out, collected my children from the living room, and left. Mercifully, Brenda didn't have a meltdown in front of them. Earlier today, a text from Robert. He wanted to apologize. We ended up on the phone. He admitted he'd realized how unreasonable they were during dinner, but went ahead with the offer anyway. I asked him if Leo knew about the trip that had been eating at me. He said no. Brenda, apparently, had wanted to tell Leo that we were going to Disney and refusing to take him, but Robert had, for once, stepped in. Cruel and pointless, he told her. The apology was hollow. More excuses than genuine remorse. He rambled, trying to justify their actions, to explain away Brenda's behavior. But I was done listening to justifications. Dad, I said, my voice thick with emotion, I need space. What you and Brenda did, how you've treated me for years, it's unacceptable. I paused, letting the words sink in. My love for you, and yes, even for Leo, is the only thing keeping me from cutting ties completely. But I loathe the way Brenda and Leo treat me and my children. I am sick of being expected to bend over backwards for you both. Given their track record, I probably won't hear from them for a while. I don't think this is truly over, but right now, I just don't care. I've muted Brenda's contact. Michael and I are back to excitedly planning our trip to France. Ethan and Lily are blissfully unaware of the emotional battlefield their parents just navigated. But soon, I'll have a deeper conversation with them about our family, about boundaries, about respect. This whole ordeal, this endless tug-of-war, upset me more than it should have. But I realize now it's because I'm so used to their particular brand of crazy, so accustomed to being treated this way, that I almost didn't see how wrong it was. I love my father, I truly do. But realizing I was never in the wrong for protecting my family, for putting my foot down, has been incredibly liberating. Lowering contact, even if it feels painful now, is going to be good for me. I've been reflecting a lot, getting my thoughts in order before my therapy session on Tuesday. And honestly, just writing all this down, getting it out, has helped. What would you have done in my shoes? How do you maintain a relationship with family members who constantly cross boundaries, especially when children are involved? Let me know in the comments below.